everybody, to Uncommon Deeds Live.
Hey, you guys got to make noise when we say stuff. There you go. All right.
Much better.
Makes it feel like the effort was worth it.
Yeah. We were set up and ready to go for 5:30, and then we realized there's a band and they need space too. So we apologize for the delay, but we promise it'll be worth it. That's Tom Corbett. This is Al Maynard, and I'm Justin. And thank you guys for your support of the show for the last year and a half, and for showing up today. A little louder. A little louder, Tom.
I can't make it louder.
He can't make it louder. Well, Steve can make it louder. What'd you guys think of qualifying? Pretty good? Who's gonna win? Everybody yell at once. Nobody yelled. There you go. Caden Fisher.
That seems better, but we're real borderline on that.
Little feedback. That's okay.
Those are.
Can you hear me now, Lisa?
We can.
There you go.
I can hear you very well. Yeah. Is that better? That better? All right. Very good.
They're toasty.
How's that? Well, you get a lot of feedback. That's the problem. Yeah.
Other than Brian telling you to do stuff, that's feedback.
Yeah.
I guess, too.
All right, Justin, I feel like you should start bringing some people in already.
I feel like we should. We're gonna have a busy schedule, and we do have an actual schedule we're gonna try and follow. But first, we've got some people that are making this show possible today, and we want to bring him in and say thank you to him. And first up, he's recording us over there, but Eric Monaco, come on over, and Bob Bianchi from the New England Racing Museum at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Thank you guys. Come on, sit down. And also, Alan Ward, come on over if you would, please. Big Al's photos, and he's got Andy and the whole, yes, everybody.
Yeah, I can't turn those on.
Is it that last mic? Just
Yeah.
get rid of it. There you go. You guys can share. Perfect. Problem solved. That'll work. Yep. That's beautiful. Yeah. So, Eric Monaco here is, what are you, crew chief, or what's the title that you're working with today?
It's sort of a consultant, but like a crew chief type of position. Basically, you know, it's me sort of like the decision maker, but at the same time, not, you know, it's not like what I say goes. It's more like, okay, I'm going to throw this idea out, give me your feedback, and all that kind of stuff. I take all the information in, and basically I make my own assessments. It's basically crew chief, but it's like community. I don't try to go into anybody's deal and say, this is how you need to do it. It's like, okay, this is what I think. If you're at point A, you want to get to point B, how do you get there?
Right on. So Eric is a Massachusetts guy. We've got go-karts in the background. I didn't realize they were going to be as loud as they are. Well, perfect. We'll roll with it. Eric is crew chiefing for the number 36 of Eric Sands, and your heat race, the first few laps looked like it was going to be awesome, and then it wasn't awesome, but it ended up awesome.
Well, I thought we'd get Marcel there. I thought Marcel is a good bet.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I thought Marcel was going to drop off already, and he sort of let us have it. And I was like, come on, let's do that. And then next thing you know, he picked it up, and I'm like, here we go. And then there was no pace whatsoever.
Yeah.
So we fell back to 10, rose back up to 6. We could have sent Switzer, but that wouldn't have been good. We had a locked-in spot pretty much from provisional, and on top of that, we had fast enough. You know, we were 11th in qualifying on 4 cars, so that's pretty good. So we have speed. It's just a lock. If you know anything about those guys, we started working at White Mountain, the first White Mountain back in June. We found some stuff. We found some speed we translated in this car, and they've been lights out pretty much in speed since, but just we can't put a first race together. Last week, we got set the tire, or 2 weeks ago, we set the tire barrier running 4th.
At White Mountain.
Yeah,
that was a big one. Yeah. So, Eric, you're a busy guy in racing. You're all over the country all the time, literally. What's your day job? Let all these people know what you do.
Day job is I'm in the shop engineer at Junior Motorsports.
So you guys have had a good year.
Yeah, not bad. If we win Talladega, which we're not right now, we're not winning right now, but if we win, it'll be half the season we've won as a company.
Jesus.
4 in a row with Noah. We're locked into the next round with him. All 4 cars are still they're still above the cut line right now. But Talladega, right? I was telling you before the show, 67 laps in, and everyone's running single file. That ain't happening. That's not going that way. So.
We'll have the big one. Hopefully you're not in it.
Yeah.
Where'd you come from? Because there's not a lot of us Northerners down in, junior motorsports land.
Well, so I'm originally from Georgetown, Massachusetts.
Paul Richardson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Paul Richardson. He used to go to the Napa store down all the time in the town. Also, Bentley Warren's the next town over. But Star Speed was like the start doing strictly stuff. Knew nothing at the time. Nothing. So, and it all started there pretty much. I'm a little behind. There's a lot of guys that started when they're 6. They're born in racing families and stuff. And I wasn't. My parents were always casual. Family was always casual fans. They never were like, working on race cars and stuff. So I had to play catch up and, luckily moving on to the front and so.
We good? Okay. Yes. All right. Apologize for the audio and stuff. When we moved everything, it really messed it up. I apologize. Star Speedway and Talladega are two very different tracks, right? So, is there anything you can learn from a streeter that applies to an Xfinity Series car? Or an ACT late model?
Very basic, geometry and vehicle dynamics. Most of what I learned, I worked for a really low-end truck company. That's where I worked. Like I said, I was going from knowing nothing to knowing some things in the streets and stuff. I went backwards. I sort of went way to the top and pretty back down.
Yeah, it's as high as I can go without it starting to get feedback.
When I lived it, which I wanted to be that.
Yep.
Okay, now I can actually come back down and actually
That's him.
Am I muted? Okay. So you guys, I'm going to wrap this up because we got a lot to get to. But you guys, you are all over the place. Like you won the Dick Trickle 99 out at La Crosse, which is kind of a mini version of the Milk Bowl.
We won the segment. We didn't win the whole
I'm going to tell everybody that you won the whole thing.
all right.
Yeah.
It wasn't mine. He was.
Yeah. So I mean, is that kind of that prepare you for this? And I know that you've had success here too. Tell everybody what you did last year.
Okay, so 2016, it was the first time I ever met Nick Sweet. I actually met through mutual friend. I have that format. And last year, Marshfield had and are any of the mics on?
And you are for hire, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's what we're doing here.
Basically, I'm for hire. I'm basically,
Much better.
I'm not at that point yet. I've just started. Obviously, 2021 was the first time I ever started. And
Still good.
I'm at the point right now where, I'm still working with people's budgets. I understand it's an expensive business and an expensive hobby. So right now, I'm thinking long run. In finding programs to build on and be able to help them, you know, whether it's low end, it's like we just want to get to a mid-pack or be competitive, or get to that middle ground where it's like we want to be top 10. We want to be top 10, we're top 10, we want to be top 5, and then be top 5, so we just need that little ingredient. Realistically, that's what to give the example Eric Sands needed, was just that little bit of, you know, they're plenty fast enough on their own. It's just, you know, what need a different viewpoint. And
You guys got in on time for the milk bowl.
yeah, we're going to start 20th, but we got in on time. We from our 11th place starting spot, or our qualifying spot, and just
And-
outside lane.
And top 5 last week at White Mountain until the wreck. So
Yeah,
it's-
exactly.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. And then I was working with Bobby Theron on the Super, and we were top 15. We ended up surviving and got 9, so that's
Yeah.
pretty good too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Eric, we want to thank you. Apologize for the audio trouble here, but thanks for supporting us. It's been a pleasure to work with you and get to know you better. And
Appreciate it. Thank
thanks
you,
for coming on.
guys. Thank you very much.
Eric Monaco.
Thank you, Eric.
If you want to go faster, he's your guy. Tom, you sweating over there? Okay. Bob Bianchi from the newly renamed New England Racing Museum at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me tonight.
Bob is
disregard the hat. Just look at the
The
sweatshirt.
shirt is what's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bob is one of the vice presidents of the museum. One of, it seems like
Well,
there's several of them.
Actually, as of last month, I was elected president.
Were you?
Dick Berggren has, I like to say he's retired, not resigned. He says resigned, I say retired. Dick has put a lot of heart and soul into that, and just felt he needed to cut back a little bit and just take it easy a little bit. That's really hard for him to do. I've been working with him pretty hard to try to let him to pull back a little bit.
Right. The reason why we have you here, not just to talk about how cool the museum is in general, but you've got an event coming up in November with one of our guests tonight.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We have the annual Legends event at the New England Racing Museum.
You got to get used to saying that.
I'm trying really hard. I do a weekly radio show and screw it up just about 3 or 4 times a show. Russ Conway, that a lot of you probably know, is a very popular promoter in this area. Russ came up with an idea that you go to arenas and stadiums and you see banners hanging in the rafters. And he says, well, why don't we do that for racing? So we've honored a lot of racers from different genres, and this year it's the Busch Grand National North Division, or the Busch North Division. And we're going to be honoring Brad Layton, Dave Dion, Kelly Moore, and the Dragon Brothers. Where they disappear? Bob's around. There he is. Bob's over there. And this is going to be hosted by somebody by the name of Dave Moody. The name rings
familiar.
a bell.
I don't know.
Dick Berggren will be there. So if you get Moody and Dion together, they spent 2 hours on the radio with us when they were supposed to spend 10 minutes, so you know it's going to be a good time.
Right. Yeah.
November 13th. So go on the website, New England Racing Museum. So nermuseum.com. Click on the event, and you can order your tickets there. They are going fast. We only have a capacity of 150 people. It's $50 for members, $55 for non-members. It's really going to be a fun time.
Yeah. You guys, how long has the museum been open?
We opened our doors in 2017, the summer of 2017. We were able to stay open during the pandemic because New Hampshire was able to allow businesses to operate for the most part. We're open during summer from a little bit before Memorial Day to Columbus Day on Sundays and Saturdays and Sundays, 10 to 4. And after that, during the winter, we really haven't decided this winter, depending on our traffic during the winter, but it's pretty much always 10 to 4. Saturdays, last year we did every Saturday. And a lot depends on how many people are coming, and we really haven't decided what we're going to do this winter. At the very least, we'll at least be open 1 or 2 days, 1 or 2 Saturdays during the month.
Well, thank you for joining us. I'm looking forward to that event. I've been working with Tom Nedishin, who's the executive director, and kind of putting some of the stuff together, and looking forward to future Legends events too, so Robbie doesn't feel left out. But we'll get there, Rob. We'll get there.
Everybody in eventually.
Yeah. Bob Bianchi from the New England Racing Museum at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Thank you. And finally, our guest of honor, Mr. Alan Ward. Al runs the photo booth and he's not a one-man show by any means, but one of the best photographers in the Northeast, and 90% of the images that we use on our show are from him, free of charge. We thank you so much for your support, and we just wanted to say thank you to you.
Oh, you're welcome. Now, they're not all mine.
No, I know. A lot of them are your brothers.
That's right. Well, plus I think I've got 7 different photographers on there as well that they've either given me the rights to or I bought years ago.
Well, and when I say that they're yours, I mean they're from your website,
Yes.
biglsphotos.smugmug.com, and it's the best place on the internet.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Aaron.
Yeah. Give us a little history about you.
Well, I've been going to the races since I was in a stroller. And my mother told me that there's no way I remembered it, but I told her where it was and what it was and so on and so forth. I was like 3 years old or something like that. And
Where was it and what was it?
it was a go-kart track, little known go-kart track that didn't exist for very long in Stowe, of all places.
Really?
It would be out behind what is now Shaw's.
No kidding.
I think I remember it because at that point, my father was selling McCulloch chainsaws, and they were the hot ticket for the motor on the go-karts.
I love it. Man.
Seals the chain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not the same now. When did you first start coming here to Thunder Road?
Probably about the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember it in the early mid '60s with Harold Hannaford and Ronnie Marvin and all those guys.
Really?
Yep.
So the coreless paint scheme kind of pulls at your heartstrings a little
Oh
bit.
yeah,
then.
I saw that and I was like, oh wow.
Yeah. It's pretty
Just
good.
like last year when he did the Hank Montanan one.
Yes, absolutely. Tell us more about why you do that. I mean, you're at 4 racetracks a week most of the time. Like, I stopped doing it, and I'm half your age. Like, I can't keep up with that.
Well, I don't know. It's just something I've always loved, and then I started getting into the old stuff, and a lot of times, especially with negatives, people don't understand what their worth is, and bless my wife, she lets me do this and collect all this stuff, and you wouldn't believe if I told you that I don't think I'm stretching it. There's probably at least 500,000 negatives that I have not yet scanned.
Are you at 1 million yet on the website?
Awful close,
Yeah.
if it's not over.
Unbelievable.
I don't really look at those numbers. I just do it. And I got to thank my brother Andy, too, because lately he's been doing a lot of the scanning. Like right now, I think we got over 2,000 images waiting to be uploaded that he scanned over the summer. Of course, the summer, I'm too busy going racing to scan.
Yeah, you're doing the current stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. And I want to thank Andy for the Red Mead crew shirt, by the way. This is pretty on point. Yeah. All right. I want to thank all 3 of you guys. The show wouldn't have happened without you. And just thanks for what you guys are doing for the racing community in general. Eric Monaco, Bob Bianchi, Alan Ward. Thanks, guys. All right. Yeah. So at this point, let's bring up our first 2 guests of honor here. The 1972 champion of the Vermont Milk Bowl and a 4-time champion of the Vermont Milk Bowl, Bobby Dragon from Milton, Vermont, and the Tampa Tornado, Robbie Crouch. Come on up, guys.
All right.
And now for the fist fight. Bobby, well, both of you guys have been on the show, so we don't have to go through the whole career yet, again, but the Milk Bowl.
I can remember.
Yeah, right. The Milk Bowl specifically is why we're here, right? So in 1972, what does the Milk Bowl look like for you?
The present day Milk Bowl?
No, in 1972.
1972,
50 years ago this year.
Well, we kind of basically transition from racing at Catamount to coming to Thunder Road a little bit, in the 68, 69, 70 time frame or so on. But 72 was certainly our big year as far as getting the old NASCAR North Series, getting back to racing late models. We'd have been running modifieds for the previous year and ran Devil's Bowl on the dirt previous to that. So 72 really was our first year back with a Southern bot chassis, and that was certainly the big advantage we had, I guess, at that point in time. Hector Leclerc had purchased one, a Bobby Allison chassis, the previous year, and they'd had some luck with it. We decided to do the same thing, and there was 5 of us guys that got together and put in a few bucks and got a loan actually from a bank in Milton to buy the chassis and go ahead and finish up the car. Went down to Hueytown, pulled in down there, and Bobby was racing for Junior at that point in time, driving the Chevy Coke Monte Carlo, and he was racing that weekend up in Rockingham. So we spent better part of a day helping him get it finished up and loaded it into a trailer that we brought along with us, a U-Haul behind my car, and pushed it in. It was a rolling chassis, no roll cage or anything on it. It was just a chassis with the suspension parts, and brought it home, and took off from there. Basically, we built a roll cage for it, put a '64 Chevelle body on it, like everybody was pretty much using at that time frame, I was the lucky one. I had Frankie Woodard, John Kiefer, Bob Clark, Gary Geronimo. That was the 5 of us guys that owned the thing at that point in time, and certainly Frankie and John were the guys that made it really work. And so coming to the Milk Bowl, which was a season-ending race, we had won a bunch. We started off early in the season, and on a good note, and kept in touch with Bobby regarding any changes that my guys thought needed maybe to be done on it. And Bobby said, "Geez, it makes sense to me. Try it and see how it works. Let me know," and so on. And so we made some changes to it, and we went on from there to win a bunch of races that summer. And of course, the Milk Bowl was the finale of the season for us here at Thunder Road. And in comparing to what was going on then versus now, certainly the competition you're seeing here now, I mean, so many cars that are so good and so close. I mean, you're talking thousandths of a second per lap, and it wasn't that way. I mean, back in the early days, and Robbie can attest to it, the Milk Bowl winner quite often would go out of here with 5 or 6 points, simply because, I remember Larry DeMar winning all 3 segments in one of our go-arounds earlier, previous to, coming here. And we never were quite that good, but we did fairly well over the years with him.
So would you say there's strategy, or does it just go crazy and do everything you can? Because, like you said, now that everybody's so tight together on time, do you have a strategy when you're in the 72 Milk Bowl? Do you just kind of go for it? What's it look like? What are the conversations you have?
I never really probably was what I would call a good Thunder Road driver. I mean, I probably overdrove every lap that I ever turned here. I compare the way I raced here versus what Scott is doing now, and he hardly touches the brakes out there. I was charging into the corners as deep as I could and standing on the brakes and trying to get turned and come off as fast as you could. And it's a momentum track, and no question about it. But that's the competition that's out there now. I mean, it's certainly second to none as far as I'm concerned.
So, 1972, you're winning the Milk Bowl. Robbie is a rookie, right?
I'm what?
You're what? I said you're a rookie in 1972, Robbie.
I don't even think I was here for the milk bowl. Sorry, I'm losing my voice.
You weren't here. You weren't even here at the milk bowl.
I don't think I was. I think I went back to Florida before they ran the milk bowl that year, possibly.
Had you had enough, or what? Why?
Hey, I honestly don't remember running the milk bowl that year, but if I did, I probably finished last. So, but I got to say something about Bobby. He might have had a half a second on the field. The milk bowl, if they started, you by time trials, it may have been the only race that year that he started, higher than 10th, because he was winning every race almost. 25 that year or something like that. Starting in the very back of the pack. That was handicap, like you read about back then.
I saw a lot of
Eyes roll when you said.
When you said 25 wins, a lot of people were like, what? We don't even race 25 times in a year.
He's just, man, I wouldn't call Bobby Dragon my hero, but man, he was my idol. If you could win like that and start in the back every week. Because I tell you, I grew up, at my track in Tampa, it was so hard to pass. And guys would work the handicap. They'd stay home or they'd come to the track for 2 or 3 weeks, load their car on the trailer, not even race, just so they could come back to start on the pole, and grab a win. And Bobby was, starting 15th, 16th every week and just dusting everybody. It was fantastic.
Keeping the car on the trailer kind of sounds like my career. Stroke for a little while and get a trophy, right? So how did your indoctrination go to racing up here as a kid? And then whenever your first milk bowl was, what were your impressions of it?
I can't really say as far as the milk bowl, I really believe it's the greatest concept. It's really the greatest race. They kind of give the fastest car the first segment, but man, you better get through that second segment, because if you don't, you're gonna. It's so hard to get through that second segment without getting in some trouble. So it's just a great concept. It's one of the few really great things that Ken Squire has ever done.
Yeah, what a bum that guy is.
And he's been working on NASCAR for the last 40 years, trying to get them to just run one race with that format. But of course, they keep moving in that direction, and now they're running the stages, which is great. But they'll never just come full circle and go, okay, you're starting in the back because you won the last segment. No, they'll never do that. But wouldn't that be great?
Close a couple of times. There was a couple all-star races, I think, and they tried doing a little bit, but I don't think they ever wanted to go all the way and say, yes, this is Ken Squire's idea. I don't know why. Yeah, that kind of bugs me a little bit.
Bobby, did you ever have that kind of oh shit moment in segment 2, like everybody seems to have?
Not so much segment 2, segment 3. I can remember one of those moments when we had it in the bag. I think I might have won one of the first 2 segments and probably finished second or third in the other segment, and we were going in with a real low number into the third segment, and it was going to be a matter of basically just finishing the race, with all 4 wheels on the car and stuff, and we were off to a great start, or I was off to a good start, halfway through the third segment, and coming off from turn 2, Gardner Levitt, man, it wasn't his fault. But anyway, Gardner came off turn 2 ahead of me. He was, it was a lap car at that point in time, and he needed to get to the pits. And he swung out off from turn 2 from the low lane up to the high side where the wall is now, basically on the high side. And I was coming up on him at a point, and I didn't know, I really just wasn't on top of things enough to know exactly what he was doing, and I ran flat into the back end of him. I mean, it took me out of the race, finished his day as well, but it was just a matter of finishing the segment, and it was gone, you know. So things like that can happen. I mean, it's so easy to, you know, to make a mistake, and it was my mistake, certainly, but it was gone in a flash, and that was one of the moments you're referring to, for sure.
Now, your dog's named Gardner, isn't it?
Robbie.
Robbie. You forgot? Like, yeah, so your Ashley's dog, you guys have a dog named Gardner. That's where the name came from, right?
Yeah. And I should go back. I said it's the one good thing that Ken Squire did. Actually, he did 2 good things, and Ashley's the other.
How long is it going to take you, man? Yeah. Speaking of doghouse.
So when Ashley and I decided to get married, we're like, well, I can buy you a ring or I can buy you a golden retriever. She goes, I'll take the golden retriever. So it was great because Warren Hamilton, or Warren Hamilton, I'm sorry, and his wife are breeding golden retrievers. And of course, Warren was on Gardner's pit crew for so many years, and and did my lettering on my car countless times over the years, and so they were breeding, and I called him up and I said, well, if you guys have, or a couple years before, and I said, I'm not quite ready, but I am going to be ready for a golden retriever, so keep me in mind. And we call, or he called me or whatever, I don't know what it was, but so Ashley and I, and she doesn't have a wedding ring, and that's the God's honest truth. Well, I started getting my drawer was kind of full, so I'm like, I don't need any more.
Well, that's it for the show, folks. Thank you. Oh my God.
So we have Gardner, which you have to admit it's probably the best thing we ever decided to do.
So dog and then marriage, just to be clear. Oh, okay, all right. Christ. Robbie, you've won 4 of these races, and you've done it by winning 1 segment, 2 segments, 3 segments, and 0 segments. Do you have different strategies to do that, or is it just dumb luck? No, and I mean that seriously.
No, I chose not to win a segment the year, No.
But there are times where you can't make a move, right? Like you have to conserve a tiny bit in this race in order to save or plan for 5 laps ahead or whatever, or you just go all the time and if you win, you win.
Well, every year's different, obviously, and the year that I didn't win any segments, it was probably the toughest year because I just had to grind out every single position I could get, and I don't think I had any idea that I was going to end up the winner. My car just wasn't that great, but because of the format, because I got some breaks. And to be honest with you, I don't remember winning that race. The only one, somebody said, do you remember 1986? I go, hell yeah, I remember 86. I don't remember any of the rest of them, but 86 is pretty easy. I mean, I had the best car, fastest car. Everything, fell into place for me. And, I would say that was pretty easy that year.
That's
that's of course the last perfect score in the Milk Bowl. We'll get to Brian's story about that later, but so it's been 36 years since that's been done. Do you think it could ever happen again? It's sort of trending into the single digits. Do you guys think that it's something that could happen tomorrow?
I would say no. I don't believe that you're gonna see a perfect score with the kind of competition and that we're seeing out there now. I don't see any way. Maybe Robbie thinks differently, but.
Well, I think that Nick had the best chance last year, because he was really great next week. So, that.
Eric Monaco is shaking his head.
Oh, by the way,
yes.
I know
Yeah.
the one thing I've been missing this year on my race car is an engineer. Eric.
I'll give you a card.
So I think Nick had a shot at it last year, but I don't see it happening this year. I mean, Jimmy Hebert was pretty impressive today, and Joey Pohl was pretty impressive, but
I don't think we saw anything that Gravel had for. I mean, he rode until the 25th lap and then pulled off, and so he could be an unknown for sure. He's always fast in this race, but but I agree with your assessment on the 58 car. He looked impressive. Yeah.
It's hard to be perfect, right? I mean, and things happen.
I think, I was looking at early practice today, and I didn't go through it after that, but I think there was 33 or 4 cars that were running, and I'm going to say that Nick Sweet or somebody like that was the fastest with a 13.3. 8. And the slowest was Blair Bissett with the 13.78.
Yeah, I was going to say he was up around around an 8, which is a good summertime time for sure.
I don't see in 50 laps how you can really get to the front. Obviously the first segment is.
But Nick was out there with 2 cars this morning. I think I had it on Race Monitor, and I think he was either first or second in the 88, and he was 4th in the 40 car at that point in time. So Nick is certainly, if they make some adjustments tonight, he could certainly be right in there tomorrow for sure.
And who's going to ride off Caden Fisher?
I was going to say, the 18 car is pretty good. There's also a guy back there drinking Bud Light that I think is going to have a shot at this. The king of the road, Chris Pelkey, is here. And congratulations on the pole and the win earlier. And good luck tomorrow.
Oh, congratulations on the whole year. He was, phenomenal this year.
It didn't even narrow it down. You said there's a driver back there drinking a Bud Light. That was like, and everybody looked around like, which one of the 15 guys?
Is like, yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
All through the 70s, I thought I drove better on a hangover, but I don't believe that now.
I want to go back again to 86, the perfect score. Bobby, were you in that race?
86, maybe. No, I don't.
It was the year before. It was the year
remember.
before NASCAR came back. When Tom had split on his own.
We were running some races down south that summer off and on, and which I don't really remember if I was in it or not. Be truthful with you.
Then let's go back to the previous best score in '75 with Dave Dion. I know you were in that race.
Yeah, probably was. And I don't remember. Remember it.
But does it? That was a year that was really right at the height of the Dragon versus Dion rivalry, right?
I guess so.
Does it piss you off when a guy can win 3 segments?
Well, I went through that earlier on chasing Larry DeMar. I mean, Larry DeMar won all 3 segments back in I guess it would have been late 60s probably, something like that. And that really woke me up as far as, I've got to do better than what we're doing here right now if we're going to compete with him. And that's at the point in time that we got together with with John and Frankie and all the guys, and certainly that helped us out. I mean, back in those days, we were running stock junkyard V8, Chevy V8s. Larry was running a Ford, and that 312 Ford was beating our little 283 pretty bad quite often, especially at Catamount. But he had a handling issue, package that was really good for here, and he was making it look easy. So, but as far as the perfect score at a later point, when Robbie did it or when Dave did it, I can't really say I truthfully remember. But the Dragon Dion thing back in those days was I guess looked at as a rivalry. Dave and I got along great, and so on, and we kind of joked about our time at both Catamount and Thunder Road, and he was the guy to beat at Thunder Road without question at that point in time, and we were probably outdoing him at Catamount, and I don't remember the exact year it was, but I ended up winning the Thunder Road Championship, and he ended up winning the Catamount Championship. So we got the opposite, right? And so we got a big kick out of that, But,
Tom, poor Tom over here doesn't have a microphone because everything got messed up, but he's got a question that we need to have you clear up. Your brother Beaver was on a few shows ago and said that you hated Junior Hanley.
yeah.
We know that's not true.
Right.
Does Beaver hate Junior Hanley? Is that the problem?
No. For whatever reason, Beaver always, Beaver certainly is more outgoing than I am. I'm more of an introvert, and I'm these type of things here, you got to coax me to come to something like this, and so on. Beaver, he would jump at the chance, and so on. But I've listened to a few of the podcasts, and when I heard Beaver make that statement, it kind of bothered me because I'm a Junior Hanley fan. I raced against Junior probably total in my career maybe a half a dozen times. San Air, we raced against each other once at Pocono for a kind of an open comp thing. He was in a Camaro. We had our little Pontiac Ventura doctored up to try and get around the 2.5 mile oval, but Junior spanked us that day with that Camaro. But I've always been a Junior Hanley fan for whatever that he has been able to do, on the ASA series and so on. I mean, when you're competing and beating, Dick Trickle and Mark Martin and Rusty Wallace and Alan Kulwicki and the best of the best that I've ever seen, in the country, truthfully, and so I've always been, in awe of Junior's capabilities, and so no, Beaver's statement about me hating Junior is totally out of whack. I mean, I was good friends with Don Biederman. Don used to come to our shop.
That's the problem.
And that was the problem, because Don and Junior certainly had a hate relationship going between the two of them, and in competing with one another. But that was totally wrong that I had dislike for Junior, because I'm glad we're clearing this up to a small group here, at least, that just wasn't true.
Now, Robbie, do you hate Junior because he kicked your butt for a while?
Junior was good, there's no question, but I can show you quite a few races he finished second to me.
There you go. Now we're talking. There we go. All right.
We were watching a race that somebody posted. I think it was from Delaware Speedway, okay? And we're racing, and I got in some kind of pissing match with somebody, right? And they put me to the back of the pack, and I go, well, let's turn this off, because I know I didn't win this race. And so we kept watching, and Junior was in the race, and and I drove back by everybody and won the race, And Victory Lane, they're going, well, are you mad because you got put to back at back? I go, damn right. Because really, I had nothing to do with the incident. I mean, there's this guy starts running into me, and I'm like, I didn't do anything.
All right. Before you guys go, I want to know your picks, and I'm going to make one right now, and I think the fourth Dragon family member might have a shot at this thing tomorrow. Scott's over there, and it's about damn time you win this thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Scott Dragon hasn't won it yet.
Yeah, no pressure. But if you can make an unbiased pick that's maybe not Scott, or maybe it is Scott, what do you think, Bobby?
Well, I'm not sure. We've seen everybody really has shown us what they've got. I knew Patrick was going to be strong. I was over in White Mountain a few weeks ago for the race over there, and Patrick's been really off the mark the last few years here for this race, and at White Mountain the other night he was really good, and so I said that he's going to show up at Thunder Road with a car that's capable of probably winning, and he struggled to some degree out there today, but I certainly wouldn't count him out. I'm not picking him. My own unknown right at this point, I'll say like Robbie said, that I think Jimmy Hebert in the 58 car. I'm not sure that we saw everything that he's capable of doing. So I'm going to go with him. I don't know.
Robbie?
Well, I'm not picking Scott Dragon, and I'll tell you why. Because the year that I really thought he was going to win it, okay, I totally jinxed him because I picked him. So I'm going to say I'm not going in that direction. What I wouldn't do ever again is bet against DJ Shaw. So I guess I'll make him my pick. But I'm not telling you who I really want to win the race.
This is bad juju here. All right, well, we've got go-karts going for a minute here, but we've got our other two guests are coming up, and you guys stick around because we're going to get all four of you in a fist fight after. So for now, the 1972 champion, Bobby Dragon, 83, 86, 88, and 90 champion, Robbie Crouch. Let's give it up for him, folks. And now I guess it's time to bring in sort of the modern heroes. The 1998, 99, and 2011 Milk Bowl champion, Brian Hoar, and the defending champion, as well as 13, 15, and 16, Nick Sweet, driver of the 40/88. Welcome to Uncommon Deeds, both of you once again. There's a half-hour time limit, Brian, so yeah, there you go. Are your kids out there racing right now, Nick?
No.
Yeah.
No. Dad of the year. I'm still working on the race car after this year, so going back there after.
So they're here. I introduced them. You can make some noise for them if you want. There we go. Nick, hold on for a minute. We got plenty to talk about with you. Brian, you got two kids finishing second today.
Third.
Well, it's close enough. We're going to say second. Never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Are you proud or are you a nervous damn wreck?
No, I'm proud. I'm proud. I mean, it was an awesome day. I mean, to have two cars, two divisions like that, and have really good finishes, and one of them came out a little more unscathed than the other, but yeah, it's awesome. I'll be a nervous wreck tomorrow.
Yeah, you get to watch those kids both come from the back in segment 2. I'm not going to make you choose, but do you think one's got a better shot than the other? Justin's had a hell of a year. Taylor has had a hell of a year.
Not going there.
Not going there.
Not going- no.
No, and I'm not saying because
I picked Nick.
I'm not saying because of the drivers. I'm saying because of the divisions and the competition level. It seems like the street stocks there might be a little bit. It might be a little bit easier to get through traffic.
There's no doubt. I mean, one of the things I've never raced a street stock in my life, and I've learned an amazing.
Congratulations.
Yeah, don't.
I've learned an amazing appreciation for what they're all doing out there. It's an entirely different style of racing than anything I've done here or ever. It's a momentum track, but I got to tell you, it's been amazing and fun to watch because it's a little bit old school in the sense that right this minute the competition is so tough in the Tigers and the late models. There's a little diversity, and the street stocks, there's cars that are coming from the back every week, which I think they're putting on a tremendous show, which is really fun to watch. So I do think that it's going to be pretty exciting with a lot of really fast cars coming from the back tomorrow.
Haven't heard your voice in a while.
Well, so you've never driven a street stock? That's probably the biggest claim to fame that you should have because
above the A championships.
There's a chance. They're all trying to convince me to climb in one of these cars. The problem is, I don't fit in those seats.
Well,
so I'm working on it. Maybe by the end of next year or the year after, I'll fit in one. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been to quite a few races this year and watching Taylor. I mean, just watch the development of a kid that you're trying to, stay close to and help a lot, but you don't have that same experience at the same time. You don't want to be too overbearing, and so how do you manage that how do you manage that? That can't be easy.
I probably am overbearing at times, but I try not to be. She's got to learn. I mean, there's no shortcuts to this deal. There's a lot of great racers in the street stocks and the Tigers, and the fact is you've got to lose races to win races and learn how to win races, and she's figured out how to lose them. And every time we talk about it, I film every single race. I do it partly like my mom used to film mine because I'm a nervous wreck watching her race. So it gives me something to do. Justin, I'm like, go buddy! I'm over there on Bud Hill, but Taylor, I'm filming every lap. She's doing a great job and she's learning, but it's hard. You've got to. I don't care who you are. You've got to go out there and you've got to learn the way you win and lose races, and there's no shortcuts to it.
Another stat line that I think you can add to your resume. Over by the bathrooms there, they've got that thing for the Crew Chief Award, and you're on it, man. That's amazing.
I got a picture today.
I bet you do.
I'm like, that's
right by the entrance of the shitters is Brian Hoar's name.
Crew Chief of the week. Boy, I don't know who put that up there, but
Nick, you look pretty tired.
I'm good.
Yeah?
I got a coffee in hand. I didn't want to interrupt, and I might have missed earlier with Robbie and Bobby. Where in the hell did you guys get these shirts?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. That thing looks like you're an official from 1980.
That's what Al said, and Tom. This is a red mead shirt. I got it from Andy and Al Ward gave that to us. And Brent Dragon called me last week. He's moving.
He looks like an Applebee's waitress.
It's Mackenzie Meats.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Brent Dragon called me and said, I'm moving. Come get all my shit. So I did. And that's,
there you go.
That's Tom. That shirt suits Tom very well. That's a 1992 Beaver Dragon Classic. There you go.
It's got a good shape.
My God. So you've had a long weekend already. First, let's talk about that super modified last night.
That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And Little Green, I saw it for the first time last night and got in it, and it was fun. Hard to pass.
Well, you got to see right in front of you the leader get absolutely demolished. I mean, that car.
Yes.
Wow. So you don't have to give us all the great details, but describe the speed difference with those cars. They're running sub 10s. The leader was running sub 10s. It's insane, right?
So I think everybody here is pretty old. So they all had a VCR at one time. So when you're a kid and you're pressing fast forward, that's what it's like to drive those things. So
I like that. Would you do it again? I mean, are you looking forward to another start in that thing or what?
Yeah, actually, so the first practice out, that was the first time really sitting in the thing, and you could tell I was pretty awful, and we got better and better as the night went on, and this place is extremely fast sensation and really tight, and those cars are really wide with no mirrors and no spotters, so you kind of don't know where you're at out there. And the biggest thing I didn't want to do is mess up anybody that's a regular there, so we were just trying to get some laps in and get comfortable. And as the race went on, more and more I got more uncomfortable, and then I got to watch the guy wreck the leader, and I was like, I don't want to be that guy.
No.
So we just kind of rode out where we did, and I'd do it again.
Did it feel like Thunder Road in that car?
No, it didn't. The one thing I can tell you that still comes to my mind, the whole race, and I'm not used to, you smell whatever it is running on fuel, because the motor is right here, so you're inhaling it. This morning I woke up and I'm like, man, I still can taste that with my coffee. So it was, I don't know if it made me smarter or what have you, but it definitely didn't help my day today.
Well, it's good to hear that your taste is back.
Well, back with methanol.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So maybe methanol helped the post-COVID tasting thing.
I think I'm going to do that more often.
Yeah. Good for you.
Milk Bowl. Let's talk Milk Bowl. You not only are tied with Robbie as the all-time Milk Bowl champion with 4 wins, you've actually got a couple more on him because you've also won in the Street Stock and the Tiger. So this is a 6-time Milk Bowl winner here, folks.
I just raced here.
All you need is a warrior, and we've got the whole thing.
Yeah.
Do you just love this race, or is it just something that happens and you happen to win it?
No, I love this place. I grew up racing here, and this is one of my favorite racetracks, and it has changed throughout the years with asphalt and then fences, and it just keeps changing every time. So and it's really fast. And it's a hard race to win, especially this race. More so this weekend. And I'm sure we're going to get to it, but the weekend just keeps getting more and more trying. We went out and practiced this morning and had to swap cars, and then now we're trying to make the car that Eric was supposed to drive comfort for me, and trying to get it faster and faster. So we'll see here how it goes.
Yeah, brand new motor went sky high, right?
I don't know what really happened. We still have not diagnosed it, so I don't want to say it's definitely an engine issue or a mechanical issue, but I don't really know. So we went out in the first practice. It lost oil pressure. It was down to 10 on Excel down the straightaway. I let off and went to 0. So we came in and pulled the drain plug on the oil pan, and for whatever reason, there's a lot of fuel in the oil pan. Like it took like 10 minutes. It looked like somebody was urinating out the pan. So it was. We knew at that point it was probably terminal, so we put it in the trailer before we did any more damage. Eric was like jumping up and down, drive my car. I was like,
get him the hell out of there.
I was like, I'm ready to call it a week, and he's like, just drive it, man. I want to watch anyways. I'm like, all right, here we are. And it didn't get any better.
Well, you say it didn't get better, but I watched you guys. I was standing there when it all was going down, lucky enough to be there. The tape job, to change a 40 into an 88.
This is a Robbie Crouch, Dick Lines sort of situation.
Yeah.
There
Tell
was
me
some
more about how
intensity
that
there.
went down.
You see that? I pulled out the Bob Ross, had the Van Dyke Brown. I watched that guy to make me go to sleep. You ever have sleep problems? Watch Bob Ross.
He turned a 40 into an 88.
Get
That's
that paint
amazing.
scraper out.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So that's a win for you then for the weekend.
That was the only win so far. Yeah. We've had a pretty tough start, but there's always a new day tomorrow. Actually, we're going to probably make our residence here tonight because we're rebuilding the race car currently. So after this, I get to go back and pounding coffee. Can't wait.
Awesome.
It's going to be fun.
Oh, Brian Hoar, 1998 Milk Bowl champion, and then 1999 Milk Bowl champion. Which one was it that your dad robbed you of the 3-point score? Was it 98? It was the first one, right?
I was counting on you to remember that.
I think it was 98.
Oh, I think it was 98 too.
We're just going to call it 98. Brian Hoar is out there in the middle of total Brian Hoarness, just killing everything. I mean, winning races and championships here at Airborne, ACT, the overall, whatever it was. It wasn't that year, but in that era. And your dad is out there too, Doug, who was a hell of a wheelman, but had no brake pedal. None. Especially at Airborne.
4 tires on the outside.
Yep. He was great at Airborne, not great here.
Right.
But then you won the first segment, you won the second segment, and you're headed to a 4-point finish.
I hate my dad.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I'm sitting here listening to Bobby and Robbie up here, and Bobby mentioned John Kiefer and Frankie Woodward. And it's funny because, as many people know, Frankie Woodward is my uncle, and his son Neil is a good friend of mine and was my crew chief for over 15 years. And so it's fun to look at and think about the history when you think about how Frankie had such an influence on your career and had such an influence many years later on mine. And I certainly would point to Frankie and Neil in 1998. Because let's go back to then. Tom had said, you know what? Tire softener, have at it, boys. Tom Curley. Yeah. He said, have at it. We're going to allow tire softener. So everybody went crazy with tire softener. Frankie is an engineer and a very, very intelligent one. And to this day, he's got some secret sauce that made it on my tires, and they were really, really good back then. And, you know, and I know everybody's just mortified in my saying this, but everybody would pull out of behind their trailers and they would just leave tracks. And Tom Curley would go down through just to see who the best was. He would take the durometer and go down the row of cars. And I'll never forget him stopping at mine, and he's looking at it and looking at him. And then he turns to my dad's car, and this is before the first segment. And he just looked at my dad and said, "You got screwed." So as the story goes, we had 2 cars side by side, and we had an amazing car, and the car was great all the way around, and we were very, very fast at the time, and I won both segments. So we go into the 3rd segment, and I remember my guys having some debate, and next thing I know, my pole and first segment set of tires end up on my dad's car. I don't know who made that decision, but I hate them too. The rest is history.
But like, I know Doug didn't have a brake pedal, but did he not have radios either? Like, they didn't tell him that you were coming?
My best friend, Peter, if you're listening, was his spotter. It was like, oh, hell no, you're going to win this son of a bitch. Because if my dad had known that I'd made it to 2nd place, he'd have made sure that I got a perfect score. He said that. I didn't know you were in 2nd place. So, no, Peter Hebert was spotting for him, and really good friend.
So does that mean Doug doesn't have a mirror either? Because there's pictures of you right on him.
He doesn't have a mirror.
Yeah.
Right. You experienced that last night.
Oh, my God. Which one of your 3 is your favorite one? Was it that one? Or maybe that's your least favorite?
No, I think, you know, I was watching, we got a little throwback scheme going with Justin and the Flying Tiger, and I found that 1999 video. And, you know, when I think back to 1999 and the season we had, that was probably the one, because not only, thank God for all you that are racing for points now, you don't have to race the Milk Bowl for the championship. But back then we did. And we went into it, and I had a deficit going into the Milk Bowl, and for as much as I love to run and win races, I was trying for the championship, and so to come out of that thing and just barely nix Eric Williams and with a 1-point lead for the championship was, you know, that was just insane. Not only did I win the Milk Bowl, but I won the championship all in the same victory lane, so that was wild.
And that one clinched you hit for the cycle. You won the Airborne, ACT, Thunder Road, and overall championships.
Yeah,
that year and that day.
Pretty wild year. Yeah, awesome.
My God. So, Nick, take us back to your first street stock Milk Bowl, or maybe the second one, because you won that one.
Aaron Maynard.
Because Aaron Maynard won your first street stock Milk Bowl.
That's kids
right. How many of you kids here are at Thunder Road and love Aaron Maynard as your announcer?
I hear nothing.
Okay, all right, Bob Young, yeah.
for those off camera that can't see, nobody clapped, and then his dad finally started clapping. Then everybody's like, yeah, we can clap now. So thanks, Bob.
Well, anyway, Aaron was a terrible race car driver, and so was I. We were teammates, and we all kind of got to be friends with Nick. Aaron won his. Nick was the subject of the Rookies at the Road video, and I think you were second, or you had a flat and he won it, right? Isn't that what happened? Oh, you were that good. Okay, anyway.
He's the man.
So, but then the next year, you killed him, and you ruined that street stock division. You with your trick race car. It was just the most beautiful thing in the world. But like all of us kids, looking up to Brian Hoar, looking up to Robbie, looking up to Bobby. That was our milk bowl in those streets. Like that was our Daytona 500. Like it didn't get better or bigger than those two 20-lap or 15-lap segments, whatever the hell they gave us, with 32 cars out there. And you got to win that. What did that feel like for you?
I remember the Aaron Maynard one better than I remember the win. And it's really because of the video I watch on Rookies at the Road. You see his interview? It's priceless. Like, I think you put. I don't know. He put dents in the roof, slamming the roof with his bowl. So pretty good. I don't remember the street stock. I can't even remember yesterday.
You don't remember? Okay. Do you remember the Tiger Mini Bowl? I mean, because that's also a very big deal.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Jesus Christ.
It all just kind of blends together. I'm really fortunate.
Do you remember your first late model milk bowl that you won?
No. I'm sorry, man.
You're worse than Crouch.
I have a theory.
Yeah.
I think it's a coping skill of good race car drivers, because I don't care how good you are, you lose way more races than you win. And the only freaking reason we come back every week, like a bunch of idiots that we are, is the good ones forget how bad it was last week. Am I wrong?
Well, and the problem is every racer, including you're hearing my interview, I just remember the last thing that happened to me out here, and it was freaking awful. So I can't wait for tomorrow. I can't.
There you go.
Great.
It's a new day.
So it is an episode about the Milk Bowl. Do you have any memories? Period. I mean, because we could just go to the next segment, but I'd hate that we missed out on something. So, okay. Try again. So, of all the milk bowls then that you've won, like, is there one memory that really sticks out? Or did the methanol from yesterday, like, ruin your brain completely? Just give us one memory of a milk bowl that's a good one.
It's terrible. Like, kissing the cow is the memory.
Kissing the cow. I love that.
Yeah. Kind of
so you've got to do it a bunch of times. I know there's a few different ones out there, but and I think I know the one that is your favorite. But how would you describe it?
The one the cow like was pissed off. Like she was bucking, and I remember grabbing on and holding on, and still bucked.
So this is Uncommon D's, but we do have Al here from the Crunch Bunch podcast, and you are a Crunch Buncher. So I'm going to ask, do you have a good wiener time story for us that you can share about Willie the Wiener Hennequin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's 7 o'clock. This is like, I can remember this because this was in the last year. So Wiener's coming down to buy parts at the shop. It's 7 o'clock. I'm not ready for Wiener yet. And he's down there sitting in his truck like a stalker at the shop. So you pull in and you're like, oh shit, it's Wiener. So you pull in, and I had these cinnamon buns, and they were really good. My wife had made them.
Cinnamon buns?
Yeah, and I'm like, you always offer food, so I get out the truck, I go in the shop, I'm like, Wiener, you want a cinnamon bun? Oh, sure, I'll take it. Okay, so he freaking eats my cinnamon buns before he buys my parts. So, just freaking Wiener. He's something else.
So, to bring the story full circle, I'm guessing he was drinking Mountain Dew for breakfast too.
I guarantee to wash it down.
Yeah. Just checking.
I hope he's out in the audience. He's probably not.
No, I think he killed his fourth Mustang in practice. So like we were trying to keep
I got
track.
Another one.
So Thunder and I were talking, and then we'll come.
That was making the brainwaves work.
Yeah, good. So Thunder and I were talking, trying to figure out how many Mustangs he's killed total, and it's impossible to count them all. But we said, all right, narrow down to practice. How many has he detonated during practice? And we figured it was 3, but I think the Vegas line's like 3.5, because I think it might be higher. So.
What's your?
What else? So
I think we've talked about this before, but Justin and I don't know, we went to watch a tour race at Groveton, and Wiener, he was a regular over there, I think. And
there's regular something.
Yeah, there's nothing regular about Wiener, first of all.
So we're going in the pits, and Wiener's he races with us, so we go over and say, the trailer's already closed, and we're like, that's kind of weird. So we walk in and Wiener's like bleeding out his mouth. Car's total. And he's like, whoa, I almost won. We're like, the practice hasn't even ended. He's like, but I was fast. He just killed it. Justin's like, I think you need to go to the hospital. I'm fine. I'm fine. Okay.
I'm going to win, huh?
Yeah.
Jeez, oh man. So you're running on fumes right here, literally, I guess, with the methanol. But what are your chances tomorrow?
Right now, you're asking?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
I'll let you know. I don't know. We're gonna get it done. We'll see. We're rebuilding right now. So after today, I would say 0. But we'll see in the morning. Gotta go sleep in the seat.
Is there any enjoyment for you in a weekend like this, knowing that you're behind?
There's always enjoyment to race. Like, no matter what, I'm fortunate I get to do this. So at the end of the day, you're going to look back at this, and sometimes I remember those weekends that we're trying like this more than I do the successful weekends. So it's definitely, in the beginning of the weekend was great. To go out and drive a super modified, that's going to be something that I can remember for a long time. And man, to blow an engine in the first part of practice, and if we can come out and salvage a good weekend out of this would be another great memory, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. So we're going to go on the realistic side, and who knows how it goes tomorrow.
Well, you do get to carry the milk can out to the center of the racetrack tomorrow as the defending champion.
So that just means I got to use more energy? Jesus Christ.
That's right. You have to walk further
By the
than
end of it,
everybody
my
else.
freaking arm's falling off.
That's right,
Who,
yeah.
who am I carrying out there? Who's the other guy?
I don't know. Is it Bobby? Are you doing
Bobby
it
will
tomorrow?
carry me.
Are you carrying the milk can out tomorrow? Have they asked you? They're going to ask you. Yeah.
Okay, well, Bobby can carry it.
Maybe Brian can do it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe Robbie can do it. Let's get Bobby and Robbie back in here for a minute, because I want to have all 4 of you kind of trading war stories here. Somebody wake Robbie up.
Yeah, I'll slide down. We'll get
Here, do we need another chair, or they're 4 down there? All right.
These chairs are amazing.
They're
That
terrible.
one, I think I just almost killed.
Yeah. So, the go-karts are quiet too, which is, yeah.
The one guy I don't want to be is Brian Hoar. Watching his daughter race. Okay. That's got to be so hard.
It's nerve-wracking. well, you and I were watching that segment together.
Oh,
and we
fantastic.
were like, okay, she's on the outside. Okay, is dusting it up with Switzer. Like, he doesn't take any crap either. And what was the conversation we had about her? Because you were singing her praises. Taylor's.
What's that?
Taylor Hoar, and how well she was doing in the segment, especially at the end, racing with Switzer there, and it got physical. And so we were watching. That was exciting.
Well, the only thing I said is, I like, the 16. Why doesn't he just stop and go up and tell the track how to run the race? I just don't get that. I did that move a few times where I want to come up, and try to, straighten the track out, and that never worked.
Oh my God! Now I want to ask about some Tom Curley stories then, because I know all of you have had problems. All of you. All of you.
problems. It's a perspective.
Yeah.
Problem?
Nick, you might be the only one who didn't quit Tom Curley, actually. That's
I did. We had a meeting.
You did?
Yeah.
Well, what was that like?
It was good. Like being in the principal's office.
He's gone now. You can be honest about
No,
it.
it was good. He was good. Straight shooter.
So he did all the talking.
Yeah.
Bobby, I know that you and Tom had some issues at the end of the NASCAR North Tour era there.
All right.
But you eventually came back. It took a while.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that Tom's displeasure was all with me. I think it was more Mo and Gene, the owners of the car that I was driving. I think, they didn't make it easy for him to like them, and vice versa and so on. But I was part of it, and so we suffered the consequences of Tom's wrath. like everybody did at some point. I mean,
You also have the unique perspective, at least in this group, of having a son who was taken out behind the woodshed with Tom a couple of times too.
Absolutely.
What's that like for you as a dad?
Yeah, no, and I think that bothered me as much as anything. The situation that Scott ran into, I think it was a race at Monadnock or whatever, over a shock issue that took him right out of the championship run that they had going, and that really hurt me, real bad. But I don't know. Tom thrived on controversy. It was almost like if he didn't have some kind of a run in on a weekly basis at a racetrack, he was down a court, and that's kind of the way he operated,
He was. Tom was the ultimate fan. He knew how to sell tickets, put on a show, and frig the racers.
Frig the racer. It's kind of Vince McMahon, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, so I want to say this, okay?
Go ahead.
Last year, he won his 4th Milk Bowl, right? Not 5, 4.
4, yeah.
But the 48 was also in Victory Lane, so it's got more Milk Bowls than
We've got defending Warrior Milk Bowl champion Al Maynard here in our midst, of course, with the 48
and
for
I was
Robbie.
so excited, I ran down and got my picture taken with him.
Yeah, it's true. So all the friends
and tomorrow
are
I'll be down if Taylor wins.
Yeah, that makes sense. Then you have 6, and then good luck.
I'm all done.
Got a lot of catching up to do.
There's just so many people that wanted to have their picture taken with you, and then you ran down to have your picture taken with me. It didn't make any sense at all. But it was awesome anyway.
Really did.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no secret that you're kind of the world's biggest Nick Sweet fan, but you didn't go down and see Nick in Victory Lane. You only saw Al.
No. I didn't. I thought I'd made an idiot out of myself once, in one day.
Brian, give us, since we're all sharing Tom stories, you must have at least 7.
I've only got 2 because we don't have time for 7. So starting with Robbie Crouch, because if you listen to my 3-hour podcast with you, I was a big Robbie Crouch fan. I've still got your helmet from 1986, but anyways, Robbie one time when he left ACT and went Busch North Racing, I don't know what point it was I asked this question, but I remember asking him, how is it racing for NASCAR versus racing for ACT? And NASCAR, there's a lot of people in charge. And I remember his answer was very, 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 very blunt. At least with ACT, you knew who was you. Rest in peace, Tom. I love you, man.
Well, you said you had 2 stories. What's the other one?
See, I'm getting old. I already forgot.
Yeah.
1999, we had a really good year. That was the throwback scheme that's out here. They threw some rules at us there, and that was really the last of the built motors.
The Dodge.
That was the last of the Dodge, right? So we decided really early on that we were going to beat everybody with a Chevy. But we didn't want anybody to know because they threw some rules at us and made it tougher to win with a Dodge. So in the Ford, because Phil Scott was really fast with his Ford. So anyways, we came back with a Chevy, but we had it disguised. But unfortunately, what happened is I tried to be a comedian at the 1999 championship banquet. And I failed miserably, and I actually offended some people, including Tom Curley. And so Tom decided to wait till the start of the 2000 American Canadian Tour, and it was the Remington Shootout at Airborne. And here we unveiled this Chevrolet, but it looked like a Dodge. It was all white with checkers down the side, and we had it disguised as a Dodge Intrepid. Long story short, as we roll across the scales, and I'll never forget Dean's Gallison's look on his face when I rolled across, and I didn't meet the Dodge weight limit, and he took a step back and realized it was a Monte Carlo in disguise. And so we made it through tech okay. But then right before the race, Tom did his famous, I'm going to drag this son of a bitch behind the trailer and we're going to have a talk. So he made sure I missed.
That crooked finger.
Oh, and I had the finger in my face.
You all know exactly what it is.
So he pulled me behind the trailer and made sure that the conversation lasted the entire practice. And I missed the first practice of the 2000 season to get my ass chewed about whatever took place with all the players involved. Let's put it that way. Dave Moody was one of them. Dave had the inside groove, and he had called me a cheater back in 1999. I was offended by it because I actually got disqualified because I was over on left side weight, and I evidently was cheating, right? So anyways, I didn't like it. So this whole thing led to a big conversation, and Tom got his way and made sure that I missed that first practice. I love it. The only thing that saved my ass was he couldn't believe it when I actually, because he didn't know at that moment that I had a Chevy behind the trailer. And I literally had to drag him out. I said, look, I didn't piss and moan, scream and yell when you changed the rules. I never called you. I never whined. We built a Chevy. And that stopped his whole argument right there. And he walked around and looked back at it. He looked at me. We're good. Done.
I love it. God bless him. Tom, can we get your voice in here at least a little bit, just for a second? For Tom Corbett, folks, this is the heart and soul of this podcast, and we had to change everything for this friggin' band. We had it all set up, and all the microphones stopped working when we moved it. I just want to give a big round of applause to Tom Corbett. He is the best. Now, we do have some business to take care of. This started with an idea on Facebook yesterday from, I don't even know who, and the throwback thing has been a theme that has kind of taken off. Marcel Gravel started a couple years ago, and he's the only guy without a throwback scheme this year, but somebody suggested that we do a throwback paint scheme awards, so I said, okay, I work at a graphic shop, I can do that now, and 2 hours later we had trophies made. This afternoon, we put it up to a vote for the fans to decide their favorite throwback paint scheme. And there was some good, I'm going to hold them up, but you can't see it from here. But Derek O'Donnell, of course, with the Alan Kowicki. Sean Swallow with his wife, Emily Packard's car. Cooper Bouchard with the Dave Dion scheme, the only year that Dion ran white. Oh, my gosh. Justin Prescott with the Brian Hoar 1999 paint scheme. Adam Maynard. Is Adam here? Adam doesn't even know if Adam's here. With the Jeff Bodine scheme. And there was one more. Who was it? Oh, yes. Jason Corliss with the Russ Ingerson scheme from 1963 back here. We left it up to the fans to vote. And the winner is Justin Prescott. So congratulations. Where is he? I saw him. I know he's here. And honestly, it wasn't even close. So I don't know where he is, but here, you can have these, Brian. There's one for the team and one for your graphic designer. So there you go. There you go.
Is Brandon Tinker here? Brandon, get your butt up here.
All right. Anybody have a camera that we can take a picture of these guys?
Go over there. Bring him over there. Over there? Yeah,
I have a phone,
in front of the cameras. Here. Take your.
And of course, you wrecked the stupid thing.
Here.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, hang in there. Swear to God, I'm getting there.
The best part is this is video, and they're like, they think it's Victory Lane, because they're like trained to kneel and take a picture. Yeah, there.
Don't block the sponsors. Yeah.
Trained to take a knee and fake smile. Like they've been doing it forever.
Look up.
Oh.
There we go.
There's so many jokes right now.
And now we actually have some other business to take care of, which all happened this afternoon too, and it's courtesy of Al Maynard here. How many of you remember the old Calcuttas with Yvonne Bedard taking his belt off, smacking the table? Well, Al has this helmet that was left over from his daughter Dahlia's racing days at the go-kart track.
The other person to sweep all three segments, you were here, I think. You guys were there.
Yep, the last true clean sweep Milk Bowl winner was Dahlia Maynard. This is one of her old helmets, and we got I think just about everybody except Nick to sign it. Maybe Brian, you didn't sign it either, did you? Bobby, did you? Well, we can add 3 more then. So here you go.
Sign it now.
And we are going to auction this thing off right now, Yvonne Bedard style, with Al Maynard, and all the proceeds will go to the Race to Read program. Hillary, come on over. Hillary Scott.
Check your mics.
Jesus Christ. But I mean, we've got...
See the belt come out on me.
We've got everybody. I mean, it's from Eric Chase to Blair Bassett. All the stars are on this helmet. But we've got a lot of Milk Bowl winners. LaPearl signed it. The most valuable signature that's going to be on there is Caden Fisher's. He was one of the last guys to sign it. So thanks to everybody who took a second while they're thrashing on their cars to sign this thing for us. Robbie already got in there. But listen, if it's $5, if it's $10, you guys all know how auctions work, right? Yeah. Okay. You're just going to accept the money, Hillary.
Yeah, so part of the proceeds from selling all the T-shirts and everything that's going on with Uncommon Deeds is going to Race to Read to start. But this is just kind of an extra idea of what we had to be able to bring a little bit more money to Race to Read. It's something that's dear to my heart, of course, and so we're ready to do that. So if you have, we could take cash for this helmet. Again, it's signed by everybody. We can
pledge either is fine too.
Okay, well, yeah, I wouldn't trust anybody here, but that's fine. So we've already cut a check for Uncommon Deeds to Race to Read for $200 just to get it started on just the proceeds from what we've done today, and a lot of people that wearing the awesome shirts and stuff. So give yourselves a round of applause.
Look at that. All right.
Wow. For Race to Read, direct deposit.
No, for the helmet.
Well, we're auctioning it off.
Auctioning round.
Starting bid is 100. Robbie Crouch with 100. Are we ready to start the auction? So here, present that to our friend Hillary with Race to Read. Thank you very much for all you do for the kids.
No, that's for me and Ashley for Race to Read.
All right, let's start a little bit lower. Let's start at 5. We'll just take this as a donation here.
But as long as Robbie and AJ say it's okay, because you literally just stole $100.
It's going to go for more than 100.
AJ's like, what are you doing? Just give away all our money. All right. So I've never done this before, but I'm really excited to try it anyway. Again, we have this. All the proceeds are going to go to Race to Read. I'm so excited to be able to do this live right here, right now. I think we should start the bidding at $100 because it's at least worth $100. Remember, 100% of the proceeds go to Race to Read. So you're going to have to yell because the lights are bright for us.
$100.
Brian Hoar is already in for $100. So I get 200.
No.
I got 200.
We got 200?
We got 200 back here.
Smaller increments.
No, it's...
Yeah, let's do like...
I'm not the one making the bids. This gentleman yelled $200.
200.
What am I supposed to do? Listen, okay. Now, I know I started this...
Until they stop going big.
Listen, I know I started this by saying that I've never done this before, but I know how to take people's money, I think.
Just take this away.
So we got a bid for $200 back here. We have 3. We got 250. 250 over here. You want 250? You got 275.
You don't know.
275.
We went right by you, Robbie.
275 right here. We got it's Liz and Rick. Very nice. Thank you. Justin. It's gonna be really hard to beat them. 300. We got 300. We got 275. Give me 300. 300. 275. The greens. 275. Anybody for 300? 300? Anybody? I think Rick, you scared him. Even though Liz was the one to raise her hand. Anybody?
300.
Hey!
For charity, for Christ's sake.
For crying out loud. For crying out. 300. I have 350.
A helmet, I don't know.
325.
That's right.
Brian Hoar had a 325. Liz.
325.
Anyway, this is going to be a war. I think it's between the two. 350 right over here. I love that. 350. Now we got a real auction going. 400.
For Christ's sake.
Hey, is that Brian's wife bidding against him?
I've seen this
What's going on over here?
Stop waving at me, honey. No, stop waving.
400. We got 400. Do we have 450? 425. We got 400. 425. Anybody?
I'm not bidding for
425. Listen back. 425. We have 450. 450. It's a minor war. 450. 450. We We got 425, 450, 450. Are you going to bid against your wife? 450. We got 425. Anybody 450? 450. It's all going to Ray Street, 100%.
450.
450. 450. You didn't bid against her. 450. 450. Rick and Liz ready to go to 5. Put this away. 500.
We got 500
from the greens in the back. We got $500 for this helmet. All the different drivers, including legends, are on this, and 100% goes to Ray Street. 500. Now get 525. 525. Anybody? 525. I told you never done this before. I can nail it.
Yeah.
I talk for a living. That's what I do. Where are we at? 500. All that gibberish. You don't need to do that. We're at 5. We got 525. The greens, yeah, 5.
Well, she's not gonna help herself.
They're 500?
Yeah, you're at 500.
No,
they're at 500.
They're at 500.
Oh, they're 500. We're at 500 in the back. We have 525.
Firing his ass.
525. I'm making more money than you, but not at all. All right, here we go. 525. 500. 525. Anybody 525?
I think so.
Here we go. 500. I'm gonna use the belt. $500 straight to Ray Street.
All right.
All right. Great job. Thank you very much. Liz and Richard Green, thank you so much for your donation. You can come get this helmet too. Liz probably wants to get up here on camera. Come on up and get your helmet, Liz.
They coming up?
They're coming.
Yeah, we should. Yes.
They're gonna come get it after.
You got
All
it.
right. Very good.
She comes up and then she goes back. So
Yo-yo. $500.
Rick's giving her $100 at a time.
She heard picture and she ran back.
We'll do it later. Anyway, how about a big round of applause for Rick and Liz Green? Thank you very much. Yes, and also they're dressed very sharply with one of our shirts, so we'll have that on sale after. Look at Brian's got one on. Look at that. Jeez, that's good. And the best news is that we have extra room in our tiny little camper for you guys. If you run out of room in that bus of yours, you got plenty of room in our little Bellagio from Kevin Smith down at Devil's Bowl. Thank you. Tom, can you take us out?
Do it.
Yeah, all right. Bobby, Robbie, Brian, and Nick, thank you very much. Eric, and everybody that joined us, Bob and Al, thank you guys. Thank you, everybody. There's a band playing at some point. We're not sure what's happening from now on, but thank you for joining us. Have fun tomorrow. We'll be in the parking lot. Have a great night, everybody.